Going back to the Auburn game, gosh, it seems like it's been a year ago now. I think these guys would agree. There was a lot of things in that game. Obviously, you're playing an SEC opponent, and you got to play perfectly. You got to do everything just right to give yourself any kind of chance. I did think that was a game we could have gave ourselves a chance in. I thought there's a lot of mistakes on film that were all about us making mistakes. Okay, and every once in a while you see somebody just get their butt whipped that did it exactly right just because you're playing against Tarzan or Godzilla out there. But there were so many things on there that we could clean up, and we really felt going into the open week we could get so much better. We just we made some mistakes that were uncharacteristic of us. We had some things offensively where we had some penalties. We had some problems with the exchange. We didn't handle the noise as well maybe as we could have at times. But we did some really good things. I appreciate the way the kids played hard. I mean, it wasn't the most ideal situation having the rain delay. But we went inside and everybody kept their composure, and the kids wanted to come back out and play. Okay, I thought that was really critical at that time to come back out and play, and I believe we scored more points than they did from that time forward. So they played hard. We were able to leave with a good taste in our mouth. I thought we were able to score 10 points there late, and they kept their starters in the game, I think pretty much to the last series. So we were playing against good players, and we executed better. I thought Fred did some really good things on a couple of those drives. We scored at the end of both halves. Right there, managed the clock. Got the ball in the end zone a couple times. So there were some positive things to come out of that game with. And I think we looked at the film and went, hey, when we do what we're supposed to do, we give ourselves a chance. So that's always good to be able to see that as a player, to look at, hey, when I do things correctly, I give myself a chance to execute versus anyone. So last week I felt like we had 3 good practices. We got after them a little bit. We wanted to get back to some fundamentals and correct some things, and and especially playing against a team like the Citadel, who's going to be a little bit different offensively, a little bit unique. It gave you a few more days to prepare for that. So hopefully the guys had a good weekend. We gave them Friday off, Saturday and Sunday. Get back to our normal weekly schedule of practice this evening, and then obviously Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and continue to, you add a few more things. You got one more game to look at after Citadel played East Tennessee. Obviously they played Campbell and then East Tennessee, and it's crazy in this league. They just beat the defending conference champion. So it'll be a great challenge for us to get out there and move the ball and stop them, and no one will have probably less opportunities. I think East Tennessee maybe had 51 or 52 offensive snaps. That's what the Citadel creates. With what they do on offense, they milk the clock, they run the ball, so you don't get as many opportunities to snap the ball on offense. So we got to really do a good job of making the most out of our opportunities on offense. We got to be really sound and disciplined on defense. We got to tackle well. And I think back to even our game with them last year and watching them against East Tennessee last weekend. They're really hard to score on inside the 10. I mean, they do a good job. I felt like East Tennessee had some opportunities to get another touchdown, probably get another field goal. I think they got down there, and early in the game, the Citadel stopped them on a 4th down on the 1-yard line. Later on in the second half, I believe it was, they threw an interception down there in the end zone. East Tennessee did. So that was a chance to score twice, and they didn't punch it in. And we had some trouble with that last year. We got inside the 5 one time, and they stopped us, when we could have separated a little bit better. So those are some of the challenges we're talking about. Finishing in the red zone, especially down inside the 10, inside the 5, being really disciplined and physical. And that's the other challenge you have against a team like the Citadel, one of the military academies, where those kids usually have a certain toughness about them, and our opportunity is to, can we go play tougher than they do? Can we be more physical than them? Can we be more disciplined? Can we be more competitive? That's a great challenge, because the Citadel, they're going to have a pep in their step. They just had a big win. They're going to come in here. I think they've won their last 3 conference games in a row dating back to last year. They beat Chattanooga at the end of the season last year, beat Wofford. And now beat East Tennessee to start things off. So they're going to have a little confidence, but that's exciting. It's exciting to play a Southern Conference game, open it up against a team like that, have a chance to go out there and execute. And we should have had some time to get better. So I'm excited about watching our kids play. That's all I have. Any questions for me?
Yeah, Coach, how do you hope to set the tone, right, this weekend? What do you think your team needs to do to go ahead and set the tone with conference games beginning?
I want us to be really physical, okay? And that's both sides of the ball. I want us to, you got a great challenge to stop them running the ball. That's what they do. They're always going to be one of the top 5, 6, 7 teams in the country rushing the football. And can you be disciplined and be physical and stop them from handing that ball, that B-back? And they've got, I think the quarterback transferred from Wofford, who was the starter at Wofford last year. That's who their starter is this year. And he throws the ball well, so they do some more things in the passing game. But it's really going to be, can we stop, really make it hard for them to gain yards on the ground, and then can we run the ball right at them to set up some of the rest of our offense? So I think that's where you go. Don't make any early mistakes. Be tough against the run and running the football yourself, and kind of get into the game and be disciplined. Like I said, offensively it'll be fewer opportunities. Got to make the most of them. But I think from a physicality standpoint, we need to win that battle.
Is it important to start fast against a team like Citadel and get the lead and kind of start to take them out of their comfort zone of what they try and do offensively?
Sure. Anytime you can start fast, that's a positive, especially against a team who's going to be primarily running the ball. Campbell was able to jump on them a little bit early a couple weeks ago. So they're a team that kind of grinds it, keeps it close, and then wears you down and gets you in the fourth quarter, which is what we saw this past weekend. So obviously you want to, you get a team like that out of their comfort zone when you get a little bit of a lead, but you can't give them anything cheap, can't turn the ball over. You got to make your short yardage, stay on the field. So hopefully we can start fast.
I know you
Bye
mentioned.
week help? Does the bye week help?
Yeah, it gives you a little more time. Like I said, they, especially, for Joel and our defensive staff, that's a unique offense, and they know how to defend it. Joel's seen it a whole lot. Our defensive staff, they've seen that a lot. So they'll have a great plan. They'll understand what's going on. Joel was on the, Joel Taylor, my defense coordinator, was on the staff at the Citadel. So it gives you a chance to really work on something that you only get to see once a year. But I felt like we've defended them, last year extremely well. I think we just gave up 7 points last year. So I know he's excited about that opportunity to slow them down.
Kind of to that point, I know you mentioned the response that you saw, in that Auburn game. From the time the clock hit 000 in Auburn to now, you guys have a week off. Is there anything or any group of guys that has really stuck out to you in this little break that you guys have?
No, I mean, you can ask these guys. I got after their tail this past week a little bit. And I felt like there were some moments in the previous game where we just didn't compete at a level that we're capable of competing at. When you're trying to get a program to a championship level, you can't get ahead of yourself. You got to go. You got to do the little things right and remember what gave you an opportunity in the past to win, and continue to do those things one day at a time. And as everybody can see, obviously the schedule, it's going to be a one day at a time schedule. I mean, we're getting ready to play a team that just beat the defending conference champions. The week after that, you got a team that took Coastal Carolina all the way. I mean, it's just, you look at it over and over again in this league, people can win. I thought some teams had some really good showings against some FBS competition this past week. Looked like Furman outgained Clemson. Looked like Western Carolina outgained Georgia Tech. I mean, it's every stinking week. You just got to be ready to go. So it's one day at a time. There's an event every Saturday, and you got to go win that event, and you got to be prepared to win that event. And that's all we can worry about is today at practice, let's get ready to beat the Citadel. Tomorrow at practice, let's get ready to beat the Citadel. All the situational stuff, one play at a time, one day at a time. I think that's how we can be successful. I like my football team a lot. Okay, we got great kids. They understand what we're trying to do, and they knew last week they could have played better. And we got to coach better. But I like our kids. I like our team. This is a team that can do some things if we just take it one day at a time and get better every day.
Coach, in the past, the Citadel's been a running team, as you pointed out, but they did pass enough to be effective. Quarterback. Talk about the approach this year that they do pass sometimes effectively go along with that great running game.
Well, it's when you run the ball like they do, and you have the uniqueness of that offense. You're having to play assignment football. You got triple option football. All the different things go on. It's much easier to get guys in one-on-one coverage. It's much easier to get guys loose in coverage because that secondary is having to play so much assignment responsibility in the run game. So, you've got to be really disciplined or they'll just pop a guy wide open. You know, you've seen it over the years. They just pop a guy wide open. So while you got to really commit to being stopping the run, you also can't just turn people loose and give them a cheap 70-yard touchdown. So the kid throws the ball pretty good. You know, he throws the ball good to fit in that offense. What you hope is he's not had as much time with some of the other things, okay, because that takes time. There's timing and being able to ball handle and read a guy and get it pitched. You know, you're hoping when you play a team like this that you can make him put it on the ground a little bit. But he definitely is a guy who, heck, we were watching, because we watched last year's game, watching the Citadel on defense versus Wofford on offense. Well, he hurt him in the air. He hurt Citadel in the air last year when he was at Wofford. So the kid throws the ball good enough to be able to do some things. We just got to be really disciplined.
And then your thoughts about our first conference game being here at home at 5-Star Stadium?
It's awesome. So, you know, we need a great crowd. This should be a great football game. It really should. It should be a lot of fun. I think we got 6 o'clock kickoff. You know, so you got kind of all day to get everybody there and have fun at the concert series and the different events that are going on. I mean, we have a great game day atmosphere, you know, so people ought to be here. They ought to be hanging around. And then it should be a really competitive, you know, I think the Citadel has a good team, you know, and I think we have a good team, you know, so I think it'll be a really competitive deal. It should be a lot of fun to be here.
Any other questions for Coach Cronic?
Coach, inquiry minds want to know, do you still plan on allowing the AD to call the first 5 offensive plays?
No. No.
Win, right?
We might give you 1 in the first 10, and I won't tell you when it's coming.
5 straight bombs.
Yeah.
First deep ball jump call.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all being here.
Quarterback Fred Payton will be next. Fred might not have an opening statement, so he'll just be ready for your questions.
Oh, I'm sure Fred's got a great statement.
That's right.
Fred, you can just lay it on the podium. You don't have to talk about it.
I'll just make sure it's on.
Make it hot.
No.
Okay. Is he good? How's that? Give him a test.
Hello.
Speak up now. All right, you got an opening statement you want to make?
I'm just ready for questions.
All right, fire your questions. Who's first?
Awesome. Fred, so against Auburn, no interceptions, pretty decent game for yourself, and you've been playing pretty well the last 2 games so far this season. What do you think personally you want to keep carrying forward, that you're doing well to continue having that success throughout the year?
I just believe I want to keep being a leader and showing I have faith in my guys, and because you know they're the ones around me that make the thing go just as much as I do. So without them, I wouldn't be able to have the success that I have. So just keep being a leader, just keep letting my teammates know that you know I have faith in them and believe in what we're capable of.
Yeah, and going off of that, talk to me a little about the offensive line. Just 1 sack against Auburn. Kind of tell me how they've been this year and kind of helping you out there.
Like Coach says, everything that we put on display starts at practice, and the O-line, you know, they really get after it. Sometimes they're short numbers, and you know they're still going hard, getting extra reps and things like that. So I think it just takes note to you know how they prepare at practice and things like that, and then the competitive nature that they play with. You know, every time I get touched, they're shoving whoever you know did touch me to get off of me and you know help me up and things like that. So I have a great bunch of guys blocking up there from me. So with our running backs as well, you know, they open up a lot of holes. So they just been doing a great job all in the off season, and it's showing right now.
Fred, you guys had the chance to go to Alabama last year. Auburn this time around. What did you guys take away from that experience?
The SEC has very large venues with a lot of fans and crowds, and crowd noise is always crazy. But what we try to take away from it is more the experience on the field, you know, playing teams of that caliber and seeing where we match up and what we can do. It just gives us a lot of confidence, you know, to see that we can make plays against teams like that. Like Coach said, when we do what we're supposed to do and we do it effectively and efficiently, we can compete with anybody. So.
When Coach said he kind of got after you guys this week, what does that look like during a bye week when you guys don't even have a game to prepare for?
Starting whole periods over if we're messing up, you know, yelling and screaming. It's typical football things when you're trying to achieve things at a high level and be a championship football team. So we just kind of took things up a notch, being that we had a bye week, knowing we didn't have a game and we'd be able to rest on the weekend. So we wanted to get 3 good hard practices in to get prepared.
Fred, having played 2 games thus far together as an offensive unit, how has that helped you to prepare to be ready for this first conference game out against the Citadel? What do you know more about one another?
It's more of the technicalities and schemes and things of that. We may need to spray this route a little bit more here or there, you know, get deeper in this route, things like that, you know, full speed happening, you may not know what was wrong with the play and why it didn't work out, but going back and being able to watch film, you see those things. Oh, if he would have just snapped it here, or if I would have faked it longer here and got him to suck up, things of that nature. So having 2 games on film and not seeing the same thing that we've seen practicing against our own defense when they know what we're doing every day, running the same plays, and they're starting to, you know, catch the tendencies, and we can't get much better against our own defense. So having those 2 games, it really helps us in that aspect.
We asked Coach this question, but as a player, how excited are you guys to open up conference play here at home at 5-Star Stadium?
Very excited. Our 5-Star Stadium, I don't know how much it exactly holds, but I know that it's usually to capacity. So we have a great fan base. We love playing in front of them because anytime you play at home, you want that fan base, you want that advantage and things of that nature. So you got to put on a great show for them to want to come see, and then, you know, they got to come out and scream loud to help us up our levels of play.
Anything else for Fred? Okay, we'll go to the other side of the football. Lance White, our safety.
Okay, I do this. It's right.
Lance has always got something to say, so he may have an open statement.
Oh no, I don't have an opening statement. Not today.
All right, fire away with your questions.
Lance, I know Coach values you as a leader on this team. Now a couple weeks into the season, how are things going with this group?
Honestly, they're a lot better than they were going into this time last year. We've bonded a lot more as a group. We do a lot more things, not just on the offense and defense, but like as a team, as a collective unit, we actually bond a lot more. Like you'll see us hanging out outside of football and just trying to make sure that we're for each other. Because if we're for each other off the field, then on the field it'll be easy.
Sure. I'm sure that was an important kind of thing to carry going into Auburn. What did you guys take away from that experience?
Like Fred said, the experience. We had a lot of young guys on defense, so their biggest thing was just taking away the atmosphere because they haven't really been in those situations. And being like at a stadium like that with fans that are as crazy as Auburn's fans, it was a great experience. And then, you know, the crowd noise is something we don't really go against all the time, so it was just an experience, and it was a good one at that.
Going into the conference opener, how would you guys assess where you're at, not only defensively, but, you know, overall, how are things right now?
I feel pretty good. Our offense, they're looking really dynamic right now. You don't know who's going to get the ball, when they're going to get the ball. And when they do get the ball, it's like electricity in a bottle. I mean, it's just a lot going on. And it's hard for us to defend them at practice. So he might talk about we know their plays, but they still break open a good amount of times. On the defensive side, it's all about knowing what you do, assignment football every play, and like we're ready for that.
Yeah. Lance, going off of the defense, pass defense was pretty solid against Auburn, but the run defense just kind of struggled. Tank's a pretty great running back. What do you think needs to happen on the run defense side? As Coach was saying, Citadel runs the ball pretty well. What do you think needs to kind of be fixed this week, kind of before Saturday?
Assignment football. The plays where Tank had the big runs, we were misaligned, we weren't doing our assignments, and so we hurt ourselves more than he hurt us. He took advantage of those opportunities, but we have to go back to doing what we do best, and that's playing fundamental football and being aligned and assigned properly every play.
On the pass defense, what do you think you guys did well that you want to continue doing now for the rest of the season?
Getting that ball out. We don't need any deep balls, no long plays, just making sure that ball hits the ground or it's in our hands.
Okay, anything else for Lance? All good. All right, thank you, Lance. Fred, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, guys. And by the way, Daniel says we have lunch over here.